The slap echoed across the steel corridor like a gunshot. For a second, even the humming of the base generator seemed to stop. Lieutenant Ava Reyes stood frozen, her cheek burning, her eyes wide, her pride fractured. Across from her, Commander Dalton's hand still trembled mid-air, a look of instant regret spreading across his face. He had no idea who she truly was, or what she was capable of. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The room held its breath. Soldiers nearby turned away, afraid to take sides. Ava blinked slowly, her voice steady but low. "Permission to speak freely, sir?" she asked. Dalton didn't answer. His jaw clenched, guilt twisting inside him, but pride refused to let him apologize. He thought she was just another recruit, fragile, replaceable. But Ava wasn't fragile. She was a Marine sniper, one of the best, and she'd just been hit by her superior officer in front of an entire unit. When she walked out of that hall, her steps were silent, but her heart thundered. Anger mixed with something deeper, disappointment. She had spent years proving that discipline and respect mattered more than rank. Yet here she was, humiliated by the man who commanded her mission. Outside, the wind whipped against the watchtower flags, carrying the taste of dust and diesel. Somewhere in that wind, a whisper of her old instincts stirred. Later that night, the base was attacked. It began with a low rumble, distant explosions blooming on the horizon like orange flowers of chaos. Alarms screamed. Men shouted. The night turned red. Commander Dalton stumbled from his quarters, barking orders, but his voice was swallowed by panic. Through the smoke, a figure moved with eerie calm. Ava, rifle slung over her shoulder, eyes scanning the perimeter like a hawk that had finally remembered its wings. Dalton froze when he saw her. "Lieutenant," but she was already gone, climbing the observation tower with practiced speed. Every breath she took steadied her heartbeat. Every movement brought back the ghost of her training, the desert winds of Fallujah, the long nights on the Afghan ridges, the silence before a trigger pull. Below, enemy vehicles breached the outer fence. Soldiers scrambled for cover. The commander shouted orders, but his words meant little now. Chaos had claimed authority. Ava's scope glimmered in the moonlight. Her world narrowed to a single circle of glass, crosshairs over chaos. One breath. One exhale. One squeezed out. The first shot cut through the night like divine punctuation. Then another. And another. Each bullet found its mark, clean, precise, saving the lives of men who had once turned their backs on her. Whispers rose across the compound. "Who's firing?" "She's covering us." "It's Reyes." Down below, Dalton watched in disbelief. Every flash from the tower was another life saved, another enemy stopped. Shame burned hotter than the fires around him. The woman he had struck hours ago was now the only reason they were still alive. When dawn broke, the smoke cleared to reveal a ruined battlefield, but the flag still stood. Ava climbed down slowly, her face streaked with soot, her hands trembling not from fear, but from the weight of restraint. Dalton approached her, voice cracked and low. "Lieutenant." She stopped him with a quiet shake of her head. "You don't owe me an apology, sir," she said. "You owe this uniform respect." He couldn't speak. For the first time in years, the man who barked orders to hundreds found himself speechless before one woman's calm courage. Around them, soldiers stood silently, eyes glistening, respect rebuilt in that still morning air. In that moment, the commander learned something no rank could teach. Strength isn't loud. It doesn't shout or strike. It stands, aims, and protects even when it's been wronged. Because true power isn't about control, it's about restraint and kindness. Even bruised, still finds its mark. She walked away from the commander as the rising sun painted her uniform gold. The same corridor where she was struck now glowed in morning light, as if forgiving what had been broken. Somewhere deep inside, she smiled, not for vengeance, but for peace, because courage doesn't seek revenge, it seeks redemption. And sometimes, the quietest aim changes everything. If this story moved you, share where you're listening from and subscribe, because here, every story reminds us, strength has a heart.